See how this works. So I've got the new Ace Pro 2 from Insta360 and did some test runs today, played around with some of the settings. One thing that will not show up in the video because it kind of came up after the fact is that it syncs up really nicely with the Cardo and uses the front camera with the wind protection. It's awesome. The problem is the Cardo, despite claiming that they can connect to two Bluetooth devices simultaneously, you can't. It doesn't work. It's never worked. It's been an issue. You have to set up the camera as a phone, and when you start recording in 15 seconds, it just automatically just starts connecting to the Cardo and using your audio from the phone. I'm sorry, from the Cardo microphone, which is crystal clear, noise canceled, and then it's still getting engine noise from the front of the camera that you're on. That works. The problem is you have to unpair your phone, like delete it as a connection, tell your phone to forget about it, and pair the Cardo only to the camera. Problem then is that you can't use your Cardo for calls. You can use it for intercom, but you can't use it for phone because it's not paired to your phone anymore. You can pair it to your phone or you can pair it to the camera. You cannot pair it to both. It would be fine if you could do it between both and then just hit a button to toggle back and forth. Doesn't work. You have to physically delete the connection to the camera and then go set it up on your phone as if it's a new connection. Less than optimal. You can still get the twin audio streams, but you need to do wired, which kind of sucks. So I may see if Cena does it better, and even though my Cardo's brand new, almost new, I may go back to a Cena if that'll allow it. Other than that, though, the camera works really well. So stay tuned here, watch some video. I've just got some random clips of me talking and different shots, some with horizon leveling, some with, the one at the end is horizon leveling, the other one's without. But it's a legit camera. And if Cardo would get their shit together and do what they advertised, it would be absolutely phenomenal. But that's not a knock on Insta360. That's a Cardo thing. Having to reset up your devices every time you want to use it and switch from camera to phone is just silly. So anyway, also it's 7:05. I'm using the Pure video right now. I'm outside and it's like fairly dark. You wouldn't know it. This thing, the low light recording on this thing is absolutely insane. So we'll get some more videos as I learn the camera and figure out what settings to use and stuff like that. But go ahead and watch some of the riding video from today and tell me what you think of the quality.
All right, we be recording, folks. What we're going to do today is going to be a video review ride with Dave of the new Ace Pro 2 from Insta360. This thing looks like it's going to be freaking amazing. I'll go over the settings that I'm using and the differences between this and the other one. One of the big differences is right now my audio is coming in from Cardo, which now connects automatically every time I start recording. It takes a few seconds, but it will sync up without me having to go into the settings every freaking time. And one of the things it was doing before, you'll notice I'm also not connected now to wires, so I can have the camera here, I can mount it to my chin mount, I could pop it up here. We're going to do that for a little bit and see how the image stabilization works. And then we'll put it back on the helmet. And that's what's really nice about this is I can have different mounting points. And I can just move the camera around and face different directions, and I don't have to worry about running a damn wire up to my helmet and having it reach. Now, while I could do that before, the lack of automatic connection, I had to go into the settings every time and manually sync it to the Cardo, was that the Cardo is so damn good at noise isolation that I would, you'd only hear me. It would be like I was sitting in a nice studio in a sound booth, you know, which is good for isolating voice, but it kind of took you out of the video because there was no real no audio from the road or the engine or the wind or anything like that. The other problem that the Ace Pro had was that the camera, you know, for years I've been saying this, GoPro unreliable as shit, overheat, you know, tons of instability problems, design flaws. But when it worked tremendously. That's incredible video. And no one else has been able to quite match that. So I'm always having to basically choose between, you know, do I want it to be reliable and work every time I need it, and give up a little bit image quality and some other things like the microphone and wind noise, or should I go the other route. So what I have done is gone with this one because this thing has a built-in windsock. There's a screen, there's a physical little attachment, like a little rectangular pod that sits on microphone, snaps on, and then when you go underwater, you can snap it off and put a different cover on. Because it's also got some kind of polymer filament, you know, like padding or cotton or, you know, something like that in there. So it's like a metal screen box with stuff in it that should get rid of, and then they've got some new noise canceling algorithms. This has a newer processor that gives you double the processing power, and it's got 2 AI chips now. I think it's the only dual AI chips to really help with image processing and effects, all that kind of stuff. So what it does is it does a dual audio stream. So when I'm connecting now to my Cardo, you're getting a nice clean voice. Again, hopefully, we'll find out later. And then you've got the wind canceling audio of the camera itself, which is picking up the engine noise. Before, it was like one or the other. You either get engine noise, which was overpowered by the wind once you went over 40 miles an hour. Even in the car, if I had the windows down and the top off, the wind in the car made the audio pretty much unusable. So I had to kind of watch. You heard a lot of wind and then some engine noise bleeding through. And that was pretty much it. So now that should be fixed. So it's got auto, and so it automatically connects to the Cardo. It'll then use both microphones. So wherever the camera is at, you're going to get the camera mic picking up audio of, and it should be much better audio of the engine noise and revving and all that fun stuff. And then you get nice clear audio, and I can move the thing around, and I could put this camera on the guy next to me's bike, and I could still be talking and picking up his engine noise. So I could just give you some really nice versatility. The battery's the same size as the old one. In fact, they're interchangeable, but it's more capacity. So I think it goes from a 1650 milliamp hour up to an 1800. The new chip's supposed to be more efficient. So that should be good. Now, so because of that additional processing power, there's a new 1/1.3 sensor, and it does 8K 30 frames a second, which is insane. You can do 4K 120 frames or something. And the big thing here for me, because the other one's pretty big too, is that I can get 4K 60 with active HDR. Before, I was having to do 4K 30 HDR to get that better color palette, get better lows. Sometimes when you're looking at the clouds, when you're looking at the clouds in real life, you see that it's bright, they're white, puffy, but they're against a blue backdrop. But you can see a distinct difference. Sometimes without HDR, it will have it it'll just kind of get washed out. And then some of the shadows will be too dark and you won't see the details. So going to high dynamic range at 4K 60, it was like I either had to go less frames per second, which is fine if you're doing an interview or you're walking around the yard. But if you're doing fast-paced, stuff on the back of a bike, motorsports, things of that nature, you want that 60 frames. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room. If you wanted to go a little bit slow-mo without looking choppy, you could go half speed and have it still look really good. Drop it to maybe 24 frames, a little less than half speed, and it would still look good. But yeah. Anyway, now I've got 4K 60, so I can get the higher frame rate, which is really good for action stuff, and have active HDR. You've still got the collaboration between Insta360 and Leica, whatever, the camera lens people. So it's got some really good color profiles, really good lens, and all that stuff. And this one apparently gives you the widest field of view currently of any action camera on the market. I believe it's 157 degrees of viewing, which is just insane. So I've got it in the mega, or whatever their action shot view is, which is the absolute widest angle, the most data coming in, kind of immersive, but you'll see a little bit of distortion. Like if I was walking through the city right now, you'd get a little bit of that fisheye lens thing where the buildings would curve a little bit. For action stuff, I don't mind that. I think it just looks kind of cool, and I really do love that wide-angle shot, especially if you're if you're watching it on your phone. But if you pull it up on a, my main desktop computer's a 42-inch, and my TV is a 75 or something like that. And it, looking at 4K 60 with that field of view and on a Sony Bravia 4K OLED or whatever the hell that thing is, it just looks absolutely tremendous. We'll see how the image stabilization can hold up. My biggest concerns really is when I mount it to the bike like this. Like if I didn't want it on my helmet, I want to just see the bike view, and that way when I'm always constantly looking left, looking up, looking down, you don't, get seasick or whatever. Because I'm constantly moving my head around, looking at my mirror, looking to the side. Keep the focus up front where the bike is pointing. But with a V-twin, right now, for some reason, that camera just turned upside down. Like if I lean far enough, does it think? Maybe I need to turn on horizon lock. I'm hoping that doesn't screw up my video. If so, I can fix it in post. But I just noticed that my display on the back where I touch, my touch screen, which also flips up so that you can use it if you're in front of the camera and you want to use the controls or see where you're squared up in your shot, it can do all that stuff too. But to be fair, the old one did that. All of a sudden I looked down at my display and turned on and it was upside down. I'm like, the other thing I can do is now, because it's connected to my Cardo, I can do all voice commands. Now I can't say the commands that I can do right here because it will then actually do them. But if I wanted to tell it to commence the process of filming, you can read the lines there, it'll actually just start automatically doing that. And I can say, I wish you to now conclude the process of filming. It would automatically go and do that instantly, just for me talking into my helmet, which is pretty goddamn cool. So, all in all, these upgrades should make for some pretty good stuff. The convenience factor of not having to have wires tucked into my helmet, and then if I go to the track, then I got to figure out, well, you're not supposed to mount the camera to your helmet, so I've got a different helmet that's just for track use, a Shoei X14. So I got to mount it to the bike, but then I got to get the wire, up to my helmet, because with the old one, I couldn't use just audio from the camera. It'd be unusable. All you would hear is wind. That's it. Anyway, so my settings right now, I've got 4K 60 active HDR. Auto and brightness and all that stuff are just set to auto. I have the EV comp set to -0.7. I'm using the Leica Vivid Color Profile. What else? I'm using low sharpness, high bit rate. Now, some people say you should use low or medium. Low seems to look good to me. It doesn't get it overly sharp and contrasty and stuff. To me, that also makes it look just like a little bit of motion blurry. And if it's lower sharpness, I can always sharpen it up and post a little bit if I feel like, oh, it's not quite. Going the other direction, taking sharpness out, doesn't work as well. So from everything I'm reading about editing and stuff, if you wanted to, if you want to err on one side or the other, go low instead of medium, and if it's not crisp enough, you can just sharpen it up a little first, which both iMovie, DaVinci, Wondershare, Filmora, all of those will do. Now this does support log, color palette, and all that stuff. I'm not really good at color grading. I don't really know how to do that. And honestly, I just want to point and shoot and have it go. And so I would do it in Leica natural, and then you can just punch up the colors a little bit. I like a little bit of, I like what Chase on two-wheel, just a little bit oversaturated. Even if it's a little bit less accurate to life, it's why Samsung phone displays look so good. You know, when you look at Apple and other things, they may technically, or even Pixels, they'll say, well, the Pixel or the iPhone is a higher score for actual color accuracy, true to life. But when people look at the Samsung displays, they're like, wow, it's so vivid and it pops. It looks better. So I tend to agree with that. So even if it's less accurate, I won't go so far as to punch it up and make it cartoonish. But I don't know, something about it just looks better to me, so I tend to do it that way. So I just put it in the Leica Vivid, and that's usually enough. If it's a little bit of a more cloudy or overcast day, I'll give it another kick or two just to bump it up a couple percentage points on the color saturation. I typically don't have to mess around with the brightness. I would say dropping the EB comp just a little bit and leaving it on HDR, it tends to do a really good job. So we'll see when I come to it. It's bumpy. I'm hoping my image stabilization works. That is one benefit of mounting it to the helmet. There's a downside, being that you have to look everywhere I look, and so if I'm being squirrely and distracted and looking all over the place, so are you. But this bike vibrates. It's a V-twin. And like I'm watching the camera, looks like one of those Hitachi vibrators. Sitting here vibrating and stuff, especially if you get your RPMs down. So we'll see if it's able to fix that, because that would be a bummer if it wasn't able to do that. Like right now, man, it's going crazy. I'm gonna drop a gear. All right, we'll get out on this other road here and see if I can just get some good engine noise, rip it a little bit. Now, I was watching something about the video where it said that you can get it to split into 2 audio tracks, but I think I need to use the phone to pull the video out to do that. And I like to just plug it into my MacBook and pull up the Insta360 software and pull it out that way, and I can apply effects and do some things as I pull it out and save it and then further process it. The host. But I think some of the features, I don't know why they do it this way, but what I was reading is it would give you 2 audio tracks, one for the Cardo, one for the onboard mic, so you could separate them and have physically 2 different audio tracks to work with, so you could boost one, boost the other, cut one out if you want, take the, mix and match and go back and forth depending on, what you're saying, or if you didn't want the voice because you said something wrong or stupid, that I've seen. I haven't seen how to do that, just in my playing with it for an hour last night. So yeah, we'll see how that works. Yeah. Now the other thing here is, now if you do use the app, I'd have to go in the app each time to turn it on to start recording. But howdy cow, folks. All right, so we got a fresh battery. I am in free form or free flow, or whatever they call it, which is just, I think it actually records like 8K basically or something. I got it set for 4K 60 HDR, low sharpness, EV comp, -0.7, and then what else? Something else. Everything else is at auto, like a Vivid with the color profile. And so it's recording a big video file, and then in post, when you connect the app to when you connect the 360 app on the MacBook to the camera, what it's going to do is I can go 4:3. I want it to be vertical, like for TikTok, or I want it 16.9, 16 by 10 either side. They get 5 different aspect ratios I can choose from. I can turn my image stabilization on then and decide what I need, because the more you image stabilize, the more it crops. Same thing with if I want to go, I can now do what is it? What else? Something else. Horizon lock. I'll be able to do that in post. I think I can do that in post. We'll find out. I hope I don't have to set that set. I didn't see it on the screen. Anyway, I can do that in post. Same thing with image or with motion blur and all that other kind of stuff. And then you export it and it computes it all and does it, and you get the file the way you want. And that way it is a truly point and shoot. You don't have to think about, well, do I want, all you have to do is set your resolution, your sharpness, those kinds of things. But if you don't know if you're going to want to use, how much image stabilization do you want, if you're not sure if you're going to want to use horizon lock and some other things, then you put it in that generic kind of setting. And then you just apply everything later. So that's pretty cool. And that way you got one setting that kind of covers most of the bases, and you can kind of get out of it what you want. The kind of video shoot I'm doing, you're going to these settings. Now, of course, you can set up profiles for different video, picture modes and things, where you go and tweak it yourself and you just slide it to the one you want. But there may be times you don't know what you want. You just want to push the record button and go, and have it do its thing. See a place to pull over in the shade. I have to check one setting. I don't see anything. The screen turns on occasionally, and I don't see anything lets me choose what I wanted to use. I'm going to double check something really quick. Shit. I'm going to fiddle with this. I may have to stop recording. Screen here. I'm going to be like, alright, we're back. Okay, I did need to go turn on horizon. That is not something you can do. Or maybe you can set it where you want and then override it in post. I don't know. So I turned it on 360 horizon lock, which is insane. You can turn the camera completely in a circle and you won't notice it. No matter what the bike does, it should have that gimbal effect. The difference is it crops in a little bit in order to do that. But with 157 maximum field of view, I think it's got the room to do that. Now it might crop out part of the dash, so some videos I might have to aim the dash different camera a little differently. I guess we're gonna find out. But that's all part of the process. Honestly, you get a new camera, has new capabilities. You got to figure out the new settings and where they are and what works and what doesn't. Let's see. Might get good usable video today, or might be back to the drawing board and have to do another run tomorrow or something. Today going to be 84 degrees. Tomorrow going to be 61. It's going to be rough. Georgia's got such weird climate. I had to go drop off some ammo to a guy. I bought 3 of my guns the other day on the Tacoma. My ADD is so bad. I sold my 308 and Rupert 3R, EAA Vindicator 357. Anyway, I get all this stuff together, get it up there. Realize on the way up, I'm in traffic. Forgot the 308 ammo. So I had to make another trip up there, an hour and 10 minutes each way this morning to bring him his ammo. I'm gonna ride, but I got up and I was like, God damn, it's cold. Screw this. I'll take the car. And I have cold weather gear. I will ride down into the 50, low 50s, even the high 40s, with the right gear on. The problem is I didn't want to put all that heat gear on. And then later on today, when it's 84, it's just all suit. Nobody wants that. All right. Are there any little twisty bits? Well, I guess we'll see when I get up to the roundabout.
little bit here, but nothing gnarly. Just that clincher grip. Last time I was coming down this road, cop's sitting right there. And I was just about to pour on the throttle. Decided not to. I'm kind of glad. I was still speeding. I tried to look casual, look away. Like, oh, man, not a concern in the world. See if he comes around back. Yet. Sometimes you want to just duck down a side road just in case. You're like, is that technically running? Like, we didn't see the blues and you didn't see him coming. It just decided to take a different route than originally planned. Would that make it sit in front? I don't know the answer to that question. I want to say no. I don't say no. That's why you always obey the law, boys and girls. And no other YouTubers. Putting this video was filmed in Mexico is not legal protection. Neither is saying that this was hey, it's funny, because people do get in trouble and get arrested for the videos they post of them speeding and doing shit. Everyone started saying, oh yeah, this is in Mexico. It's like, well, it says Atlanta 3 miles out. No, you're not. Yeah. You shut the cops aren't going to be cool. That's how Gypsy Car got in trouble. Is he running from Denver to something on the interstate doing a high speed run? So, well, in order to make that speed run, you can see the speed you're going, you're averaging 160 miles an hour for like 20 miles. It's your channel. It's your voice. So, oh yeah, that was in Mexico. Well, that wasn't me. How can you prove it? Just go speed. They want to, they will. But I was good. Cops gonna pull me over here. And I'm gonna pull right behind. If I see the blues come on when he goes by me, sometimes they do it just to flash him, just a warning to say, hey, slow down. But if I see him brake and the lights come on, I just right in. When he's gonna make him chase me, I will be waiting on the side of the road. And that has saved me from more tickets than anything. This is so many YouTube videos now, entire channels. YouTube and Instagram. Cops chasing bikers and bikers running. It's so cool. Pull over and take the fucking speed, dude. We all speed and goof around. We don't buy bikes like this, just sit there at 35 at the speed, right? It's a calculated risk. We know we're doing it. And every few years, you're going to get popped. It's just the law of averages. Have a fast car. Well, people that have shit cars get popped speed. If you go buy a freaking Bed or a Porsche or any Mustang, any kind of sports car, or you buy a motorcycle, especially a sport bike, you're going to get a speeding ticket occasionally. Some more than others. Pulled over for speeding. They say, you can't do the time, don't do the crime. I do believe in that. I will ride my bike faster than I should, knowing that, cop pulled me over right here. That could not be good. That could be several points on my license, or worse. But I've been pulled over for going quite a bit over. And because I immediately pulled over, key out of the bike, helmet off, gloves off, making it very clear I'm not running. I'm not giving him a line of shit. I'm not giving him excuses. I'm not giving him attitude or playing dumb. Just own it. Pull right over and own it. And I'm finding 4 out of 5 times the cop will let you go with a warning. So unless you got a cop that is a dick, some are, most aren't, but some are, and he's pissed off at bikers because you're the 8th guy he's caught speeding on that stretch of road that day, you know, sometimes they're going to give you a hard time to make an example of it. But again, it's just part of it. Don't go ripping down mountain roads and use it as a private racetrack if you're not willing to get a ticket. But I'm finding if you're not crazy over it, you pull right over and you're like, hey, I'm sorry, man, I had a momentary lapse of judgment, just goofing around a little bit. They look at your record. You don't have any other tickets anytime recently, and you know you got a clean record. I find that having a concealed carry permit helps a little bit. They're like, hey, you let them know you're armed. I mean, I've got a loaded handgun on my hip right now. You're letting them know that rather than letting them see it. You go to reach for your wallet, they go, oh, he's reaching for a gun. Like, you just don't even let them know. It also lets them know, hey, you're being responsible. You're actually thinking about the officer's safety and your safety. That's a good point. They're like, okay, he's not an idiot. He's trying to be mindful and responsible and let me know he's armed. And it also lets them know, hey, I've been through the permit. I had a judge sign off on this. I've been fingerprinted and run through the system. I got a clean background. So he knows, okay, I'm not dealing with a drug dealer or somebody that's got an arrest warrant. You know what I mean? I find you add up all those things, but the biggest thing is obviously pulling over, not being a freaking retard. So many guys just run. I don't want to get a ticket. The problem is, now you run, now you're a felon. And now you have to get away. Because if you don't, your ass is going to jail. You will lose your license. Your bike will be impounded. If they don't pit maneuver you or you don't crash in the goddamn process and get hurt, like it ain't worth it over a fucking speeding ticket. Take your lumps, pay the $300. Yeah, I know, it can be more to get a super speeder. And obviously, if you're doing a buck 60 down the interstate, pulling over, you might not see it. Fuck. You're up there in the mountains and it's 45 and you're doing 61 or something. Yeah, you're speeding and that's enough to get pulled over and given a ticket. But most of the times that they've told me, hey, you're not getting a ticket today because you pulled over. You didn't make me chase you. You didn't give me some stupid excuse. You just took your lumps like a man. All right, here's your written warning. Knock it off. Tell your friends. And I respect cops that do that. But most of them aren't. They know why people are up there. They know that it brings money up there because you got to buy gas, lunch. A lot of motorcycles bring money up into those areas. So they don't want to completely squash like the only tourism they get in those areas. But when you go to the Dragon, you go up to the North River Mountains and stuff, a lot of the revenue that those towns get comes from car clubs and motorcyclists. So they don't want it to be the Wild West and reckless and be scraping up fatalities every weekend. But they don't want to completely squash it to where nobody wants to go up there anymore. That's not good for business either. So it's within a reasonable limit. If you know there's an area where you know there's no cop, you want to go there, yeah, I'm not going to say do it or don't do it. But if a cop lights you up, just fucking sack up and pull over. Don't be that guy that goes to jail or loses his leg in a crash because he didn't want to pay a $180 ticket. That's just stupid. That's a bad call. Take your lumps. Be nice to the cop. Don't make him chase you. You might find that the cop lets you go for that. Jimmy's been pulled over too. And the cop thanked him more than once for not running. Most of the guys on these bikes run. Thank you for not running. And that's why you're only getting a warning. Well, I guess I'm going to Cummington again. I'm just sitting here and I'm like, where am I going? And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm going where I always go. If I'm not up in the mountains, I'm down here. So this is all I got for now. I'm gonna go listen to music and stuff, and I'll put this all together as best I can from the different clips and play around and see what settings I like and which ones we don't. I'm going to ask for your guys' feedback. But so far, I mean, it's hard to review because this is the video. The review is going to come when I watch the video after I put it together. And so I'll go make one big video and then maybe I'll cut it up and interject. I don't think it's... in any case.